You're listening to B2B Tech Talk with Ingram Micro, where we share topics that will inspire business growth and help you stay ahead of advances in technology before they become mainstream. This episode is sponsored by Ingram Micro Xvantage, the game-changing platform that will transform your business potential and reshape how customers see you. Our next B2B Tech Talk guest, Susan O'Sullivan, is Ingram Micro's Vice President of U.S. Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Susan is responsible for developing and executing creative strategies to foster U.S. DE&I goals within Ingram Micro and externally in the communities where they live and work. Her focus includes recruiting and hiring strategies, continuing and enhancing DE&I training and development programs, and working with Ingram Micro's U.S. employee resource groups to further their advocacy efforts. It is no surprise that Susan is a 2023 Woman of the Channel honoree. Susan says of her current role, "I love having the ability to listen more and learn from and motivate others, not only in our company, but in the industry and within the communities we live in." Guest host Victoria Casillas will help us explore the success of Ingram Micro's DE&I strategy and why DE&I is good for business. Let's welcome to the show Victoria Casillas and Susan O'Sullivan.
Susan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh my gosh, it's absolutely my pleasure. I love talking about
It
DE&I.
looks amazing out there, doesn't it?
It does. I was walking through and I'm so impressed with the vendor booths and just the whole vibe. It's very exciting.
I agree. So, just wanted to ask you a couple questions, dive in if we wanted to.
Let's dive right in.
So, you've successfully led sales for Ingram for numerous years. What does taking on Ingram Micro VP role of DE&I mean to you?
You know, that's a great question in that when I was running sales, it was about, hitting goals and metrics and making sure that at the end of the day that our partners had a fabulous experience and that we were truly giving them what they needed, right? What they were trying to accomplish, what they were trying to fix, what they were trying to solve. And I think when I took on the role of VP for diversity, equity, inclusion, I'm not going to lie. I didn't raise my hand and say, yes, I want that. I was very, I'm not sure this is the role for me. I think there are better people out there that could really take this role. They've gone to school, they have the letters. And I was very, taken aback when Paul Bay said to me, no, Susan, we need you because you've been with Ingram, and I'm not going to say how long, but a very long time. And you know everybody and you've built these relationships and you know how to go in and get things done. And we can hire somebody to do the letters. And we were able to hire an amazing woman, Dr. Ashley Goodwin, who brings the letters. She's got a great academic background. So together, Ashley and I have really been able to hopefully, I think, take DE&I to the next level at Ingram, because at the end of the day, we have to remember Ingram was a great company and we had a great culture to start with. And I always like to talk about, we had ERGs before they were called ERGs, right? We had an amazing women's group. We had an amazing multicultural group, and we had an amazing pride organization. They weren't called ERGs and they maybe weren't called those names, but they were still there. And I think that, and it wasn't just in one location, it was in multiple locations. So we've always had that great backbone. And now that we have, leadership truly buying in, I mean, that's what this is about, right? It has to be led from the top down. So with Paul and all of his staff really buying in and leading it, pressing it down, it's been an interesting journey, and I've been really enjoying it. It's been tough, but it's been good.
It's amazing to hear how it's played out and growing so many years.
Absolutely.
And tell us about Ingram Micro employee resource groups and other initiatives that you're spearheading as part of your role.
So as I said, we've always had them. We had started with, I would really say 3. We're up to 8. We just added our 3rd called Thrive, and that's really all about wellness. But really, from our ERG perspective, we have 8 for the U.S., and then we also have them globally. And so what we're trying to do is really have those little pockets where we can bring our best practices together. And we created a dashboard, and I want to just shout out to our BE&O team. They were outstanding. They rose to my challenge and they exceeded my expectations. But I can tell you by location, who's in what ERG, how much they're engaging, and how many other ERGs they're a part of. And I can also say, there are associates outside of the U.S. that are still involved in the U.S. And I just feel like we're really taking this and making this a true global nature, even though they are, every Not everything plays in every country, because every country is a little bit different, right? But we set the strategy at that global level, and then everything happens at a local level. And I think that's been incredibly impactful. But now, we have veterans, we have women, we have multicultural, we have pride, we have disability, now Thrive, and I'm always going to forget one, but I think I got them all. They're 8. So, and I will tell you, the leaders of our ERGs, and I just want a big shout out to all the people that raised their hand and said, I want to take that leadership role on, because again, this is outside of their daily activities. They're all excellent employees. They've all said, no, this is really, I'm passionate about this and I want to take this on. Now, I do think it gives them great visibility, and I also think it gives them some leadership skills. At the end of we're always trying to develop our people, right? And I think this is a great development opportunity. I also say that we should, if you're interested, join as many ERGs as possible. Just because you don't know about something, that's the perfect person to join, right? I've learned so much in the Pride ERG. I've learned so much in the Veterans ERG. Those are communities that I probably wouldn't normally have had an opportunity to speak to somebody about. And I have learned, and I believe everybody else has. So it just, I'm very proud of our ERGs and the leadership. And I also want a big shout out to the executive leaders. So every ERG has an executive leader, and I am so impressed with the due diligence that they have had. And they show up to those meetings. They show up with their strategy. They're mentoring leaders. And again, what chance are you going to have to talk to an Augusto or an Anthony Mackel or a Victor Baez? They all are very passionate about the ERGs that they've selected. And it's really great to see.
Wow, that's very inspiring to hear, right? Especially when an exec is being that involved in something so important to those who are in those programs.
Absolutely.
So what has the impact of DE&I been on the global workforce since it rapidly took shape?
That's a great question. When I look at what's taken from a global perspective, the world is changing. So this really, I think, as I said, Ingram's been doing this for a very, very, very long time, before it was called DE&I and before it was called ERGs. I think when you look at the global aspect, associates or people that are looking for jobs, they want to see a diverse company. I think the stat is out there, and I know this is the stat because I just checked it. So in the workforce today, right now, looking for jobs, 60% say they will not work for a company that does not have equity, diversity, some type of the DE&I in their culture code. And that's a big deal. And then also think about the associates that are working there today. 50% say they want diversity to be a major topic with leadership. So I think what it's done from a global perspective is that it has really allowed people to say, I'm going to test the waters and make sure that before I apply, that I see people who look like me, that I see women in leadership, that I see that there are, employee resource groups, that people aren't just posting pictures, but they're truly walking the walk. And that's where I believe, Ingram is going to come out ahead, because, again, when you have leadership like Paul Bay, like Kirk Robinson, like Victor Baez, like Mark Snyder was on the Women of the Channel panel, and with Yana. Those are people that really have stepped up and said, no, this really is important. And when the associates see that and they feel it, it's really working.
Right. And I will say, being a young woman of color, it's very reassuring as well to know that that's available to us, not only in person, but also online. So that's amazing to hear.
And, it's something, we talked a little bit, it was on the panel. So I hope everybody got a chance to attend. If they didn't, though, we talked about sponsorship. And yes, we all have to manage our own careers, and we're in charge of our own development. However, I also think it's incumbent upon every leader to say, you need to sponsor people, and you just can't sponsor people that look like you or that you're very comfortable sponsoring. I think we all have to get out of our comfort zone and find people that, maybe wouldn't have been what we normally would see, or we look at our own teams and say, what is really missing?
Yeah.
Because without a diverse leadership team, without diverse thought, think about it, it can be everything from women of color, men of color, age, different experiences, LGBTQ, it doesn't matter, veterans, everyone brings a different experience, and we are so much stronger when we can all talk about our experiences. But that goes back to the inclusion part, because you have to feel like you really belong, and that you can be your true self and come to Ingram and say, no, I'm going to speak my true self in my mind and say, I think you're wrong. Again, respectfully, everyone has to be respectful, but I think if you feel like you can truly bring your whole self to work, everybody, the company's better, you're better as an associate, and the people around you are better.
Yeah, I 100% agree, Susan. And just for a little fun question,
Oh, fun.
what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Oh, I know exactly. It was Mr. Kirk Robinson. And I didn't get a promotion one time. And I really thought that I deserved that promotion. I had worked so hard. And I bolstered up my courage and I went in there and I was indignant. I had that whole indignant. I'm like, I don't understand why I was not promoted because I did this, 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 and this. And he very calmly looked at me and he said, I didn't know that. You never told me that. And I went, and then you can't be mad anymore.
Yeah.
So my advice is if you want something, go get it, talk to people about it, get a sponsor, get a mentor, or just make your ambitions known. And it's interesting. I'm going to shout out to my women's group. I have a small women's group. And I think everybody, if you're a director and above at Ingram, and even Dr. Ashley Goodwin has her own women's group, we have 12 women that we go through, a yearly. I think mine's going on a year and a half now. And I love my team. So shout out to my women. But I'm also going to laugh at them because we did vision boards at the beginning of the year.
Oh, fun.
It was so cool, right? Because everyone like, oh, vision board, and you don't want to do it. And we gave everybody the quarter to do it. So March came and everybody brought amazing visions and everybody apologized for wanting that next promotion or that I'm not quite ready yet.
Yeah.
I need more of this. I need more of that. And I was calling them out and I said, the equity gap will never get broken if we don't raise our hands and take those. Even if you don't feel you're ready, if somebody's going to say yes to you, you take that.
Yeah.
You get out of your comfort zone, you take that promotion, you make people aware that you want that promotion because that is, that compound, I'm not a financier, but I understand compound. So if you don't get the promotion and you get your cost of living and somebody else got the promotion, they're always going to compound their cost of living higher than you. So it's going to take a long time for that first promotion you missed to catch up. So put your fear aside, find someone who's going to bolster you, push you, make your desires known and then go after it. And I know it seems like it falls on you all the time, but you are the master of your career and find those people that are going to talk about you when you're not around.
Yeah, that's amazing. Susan, thank you so much for being here with us today. We appreciate it.
Oh, my
pleasure. I have the best time here.
Thank you. You did an awesome job.
You've been listening to Ingram Micro's B2B Tech Talk. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode and you want to continue the conversation online, use hashtag B2B Tech Talk.